it's late here because I'm in Italy. So I'm really glad that our paper was chosen between a set of paper for the Women in RecSys program. And the paper that I'm going to present today is a paper that was published together with Liliana Ardissono in the Expert System with Application Journal 2 years ago. And the title of the paper is a compositional model of multifaceted trust for personalized item recommendation. So the problem that we wanted to face is that recent studies show that people generally perceive the data about social relations as a violation of their own privacy. And also nowadays, after 2 years, most of the trust-based recommender system often only rely on social relation to define the level of trust and reputation of people in a recommender system. So our idea was to use additional type of trust statements that can be considered to build a richer reputation model. In this way, we were able to create anonymous trust statements that are able to preserve the user privacy and make them more happy about interacting with recommender systems. So our proposal was the development of the multifaceted trust model that is composed by 3 components. The first one is the typical one that is used in trust-based recommender system, and it is represented by the local trust between users, so by the direct links between the users in the social network, so it's given by the social relations. Then we use and we define another component that is represented by the quality of individual reviews, and in this case is given by the explicit feedback that the reviews receive in a system. And then we define the multidimensional user reputation that is given by the integration of different type of endorsement that users can receive with the quality of their contribution or with their behavior on the platform. We then integrated this model in the LOCABAL algorithm that is a trust-based recommender system that is quite famous, and we named our model LOCABAL Plus. Our model, differently from the LOCABAL algorithm, regularizes the social relations by means of rating similarity and multidimensional global reputation, and it is also configurable to use a subset of the facets of trust that we defined. So the multifaceted trust model, as I said, is composed by different classes of trust evidence that can be derived from the typical social network. And it is made by 2 main components: the multidimensional global reputation of a specific user that is given by a weighted mean of different indicators of trust evidence that I will explain in detail later on. And then the second component is represented by the quality of individual contribution on a specific item. For individual contribution, for example, we mean the reviews. And this component is given by the ratio between the number of appreciations that a specific contribution on a specific number receives and the maximum number of the appreciation that the item received in the past. So for what concerns the multidimensional global reputation, so the first component of the formula, we defined the different facets of trust. The first one, that was also used in the LOCABAL original algorithm, is given by the importance of the user in the social network. To compute this component, we leveraged the page rank that defines the importance of a user in a specific social network. The second component is represented by the user profile endorsement and public recognitions. And the instances of these appreciations are, for example, the ones that other members of the social network give to a specific user. So, for example, likes, a number of fans or followers, or other public recognitions that can be found in the social network. Then we have the third component that is represented by that we named visibility, that represents how popular a user become in the social network thanks to the contribution he made. So it's again a ratio between the appreciation received by a specific user and the maximum number of appreciation received by the user of the social network, but this time is weighted by the number of contribution authored by a specific user. And then the fourth component is represented by the quality of the user as a contributor. So in this case, we want to understand how much the feedback that the user received on his contribution, so on his reviews, are important. We then integrated the multifaceted trust model and the multidimensional global reputation in the LOCABAL algorithm. That is an algorithm that is based on matrix factorization. So we weighted the first component of the formula, so the one that represents the matrix factorization on the rating matrix, by using the multifaceted trust model. And then for what concerns the second part of the formula that represents the matrix factorization on the matrix with the rating similarity between users, so the similarity, the part that represents the social network, we weighted this part by using the multidimensional global reputation of the users. So we can say that LOCABAL Plus extends the original algorithm in two ways, because it models the global context by taking into account multifaceted trust in the first part of the formula, and then it tunes the social regularization on the basis of both rating similarity by means of the matrix S and the multidimensional global reputation. We tested our model on two subsets of the Yelp dataset. In particular, we took into account the Yelp Hotel subset that is represented by the categories that are associated to accommodation, so for example, hotel, hostels, etc. And then on the Yelp Food dataset that is represented by the categories that are subclasses of restaurants or food in the cities of Phoenix, Toronto, and Pittsburgh. In Yelp, we can find different kind of information. We selected this dataset because in this way we were able to map all the information to the facet that we defined. But I want to highlight that our model also works without some of these facets. So, for example, in Yelp, we can find the number of years of which a user was named as an elite user, the number of compliments received by the user profiles, so for example, thanks, great writer, etc., the number of fans of each user, the number of appreciation on the reviews that he authored, so the number of useful, funny, and cool appreciation received on the reviews, and the number of likes received on the tips that he wrote, and the last, the number of friends of each user. Since we were interested to understand if our model works without some components, we tested our model with different configurations. So we have three main categories of facets that are the social relations, the feedback on user profile, and the feedback on user contribution. So we tested the algorithm, so LOCABAL Plus, with all these facets. Then we tested the model by removing the feedback on user contribution, then by removing the feedback on user profile, and then by removing the social relations in order to see if we can ignore the social links, and this is important for privacy protection. We then compared our model with different baseline. So we checked it with the typical user-to-user collaborative filtering, the SVD++ algorithm. Then we compare it with some trust-based recommender system, the one that is named user-to-user social, that is like a user-to-user collaborative filtering, but instead of the rating matrix, there is a matrix with the social links. And then with social MF and LOCABAL, that at that time were two strong baseline used in the trust-based recommender system. Of course, this work was published 2 years ago, and for sure, today there are new baselines that could be compared, but we still believe that the key achievement can be applied and are still useful for the research community. So the results show that LOCABAL Plus outperform the baseline in all the measures except for the recall and user coverage. And every configuration of LOCABAL Plus, even when we remove some of the components, achieve better performance than the baselines. We want to highlight that LOCABAL Plus without the social relations is the most precise algorithm, and it excels in precision and error matrix. And so we can say that the ratings can be predicted without using personal data about social relation, but only by using public anonymous information. On Yelp Food, we obtained similar result, and you can find the details in the paper. But feedback on user profile and social relations play complementary roles and can replace each other without a major loss of performance. So to conclude, we can say that the LOCABAL Plus outperform all the baseline, even if we remove some of the components from the multifaceted trust model. So our approach is flexible towards the lack of information, so it can be applied also on other dataset where we don't have all this kind of information. Of course, it's important to analyze the characteristic of the data and the various types of feedback that can be used. The key achievement and the lessons learned are that we can, with this kind of multifaceted trust model, we are able to protect somehow the data about social links, and we can rely only on public anonymous information. And this is every day more important with the increased attention towards privacy and the GDPR. And also people are always more skeptical towards giving personal information to the systems. So thanks for your attention, and I would like also to thank NVIDIA for supporting women in RecSys and for allowing this session.
So thank you, Noemi. Are there any questions in the audience? You can also post your questions on the chat. So there is none in the audience. I cannot see so far. However, so meanwhile, I would like to ask you, so you said this work has, of course, already been published, so some time ago. Did you continue somehow in any regards, like also maybe kind of use or update the model in some way, or?
So right now we didn't continue this work because we moved a bit towards the interaction with between the users and the system, so more towards the interfaces and this stuff. But it's our plan to continue it and to update this model, because we really believe that it's flexible, and we still see that people always only use social links to define the reputation of the users.
No, I think also it's very interesting, and it was also like what was the feedback also by the committee. So they liked this idea very much, but I think, I mean, yeah, this is kind of a first attempt into this direction, and then kind of maybe have more, I don't know, sophisticated definitions of reputation or something, or try it in different domains. This would be very interesting, I think.
Yeah, I also believe that it could be interesting also to see what happens on other data set. We also performed a mapping on the library thing data set, but in that case there were really few information, but we still obtain basically similar results of what we obtained on Yelp. So yeah, I believe that is a flexible model.
So then let's thank Noemi again, and thanks for staying up so long. So, and yeah.
Thank you.
And yeah, then we come to our next speaker. So she's here on site, Hanna Hauptmann, and she will present her work on nutrition